Hey everybody, Brian from Rebel Traders here. It is not the weekend, it is December 9th, Monday, and I got back late last night from Colombia. We were down there, of course, with some of our moderators and a number of our traders who decided to join us, and I'm sure they all don't regret joining us because we had a fantastic time down there, getting to know each other, talking, trading, and yeah, just a really good time. So we're back now, back to reality, and this, of course, is usually my weekend video, but I'll do this on Monday, get it out there, and sort of cover off what's going on for the rest of the week and stuff to watch. So let's get down to it. So as always, we'll start out with a quick week in review. Job growth was in focus last week. We got the labor report, still showing a very strong labor market, 227 positions added, which was higher than the consensus. S&P broke above 6,100 for the first time. Bitcoin breached 100K level, all these levels being broken, and the market still seems to be on a bit of a run here to the upside. And of course, expectations are high for another rate cut that's going to possibly be coming up in December, that December 18th Fed meeting. Qs and SPY, kind of a mixed bag this week. The Qs, the tech sector came roaring back this week after being down the previous week, but they both continued higher. Dow pulled back a little bit, and the IWM, of course, pulled back a little bit as well. Again, consumer discretionary and tech, big gainers on the week. Energy still seemed to be struggling here. Utilities were the worst performing sectors. Sort of the 2-year was down a little bit, kind of flattish. And same with the 10-year. 10-year was up a little bit, but again, sort of flattish there on the week. So not a lot of movement on the yields. Dollar was up slightly, and Bitcoin, of course, as I already mentioned, up over 100K. But as soon as it got over there, it pulled back, and it currently trading around 98,500, which it had kind of a weak day today, Monday. So that was your week in review. So just taking a pause here, as always, like to do a quick plug for my books that are available on Amazon. Of course, this is a swing traded video, and these are some of the strategies that I use for swing trading. I cover in these two books, How to Swing Trade and Profiting as an Active Trader, so you can check those out. And also, I've got an options trading book. My latest book came out and covers A to Z with options, and also some day trading options if you're interested, but swing trading, day trading, all the strategies that you can use to trade options. So they are available on Amazon in all three forms: hard copy, audio, and e-version. So check those out. And let's get back and take a look at some indexes. All right, so let's go over some of the indexes as we always do to start out. You can see here, this is actually includes Monday's numbers, but you can see here as we went through the week, the price of the bonds started to rise a little bit as we got a bit of a sell-off on the yields, but we have started to pull back again, so we're back down to these moving averages. So maybe a bit of a consolidation week here. We'll see what happens. CPI data and PPI data that's coming out Wednesday and Thursday. I don't expect any real surprise. Probably still above 2% target by the Fed, and the Fed don't seem to be overly concerned, as we do have a rate cut coming up, and it looks like the market's pricing in about a 90% chance we are going to get another cut of a quarter point. So you can see here we're kind of getting into a bit of consolidation again with sort of as the yields go, so does the value of the dollar in the currency markets, and we're kind of getting into a bit of a chop here, consolidation. And again, the Qs broke out to new highs here last week. You can see here we had a gap up on the Tuesday, I guess it was, or no, that would be the Wednesday, Thursday, and then another move up here on Friday. We weren't trading Friday, we were traveling. Bit of a pullback here today, but again, trend is your friend, and you can see we're above all the moving averages, and this day probably a little profit taking. We may actually go back and fill this gap here, because markets typically don't like to leave these gaps. And we'll see what happens for the rest of the week, but I suspect we're getting into a bit of a consolidation phase here maybe this week. The SPY, sort of same story. broke out Wednesday, and now we pulled back up again, pulled back in again, and again maybe get a gap fill back down to this moving average, and then maybe some consolidation. Certainly the Dow looks a little bit worse here, kind of a double topping pattern, maybe, and rolled over, lost the moving average today, maybe coming down to this 440 level on the DIA. Yeah, we've got a moving average here and a gap to fill as well there. So more room to the downside on the Dow for this week. IWM, again, kind of topping pattern, big sort of double top here. Couldn't push higher after this big move up, and now we've got sort of a series of at least lower highs here. So we may be coming down again, testing that moving average on the IWM. And Bitcoin, again, we had that huge spike when we went up to 100K, and then it pulled back all the way down to somewhere around 90,000, and then it just moved back up here. I see we're trading around 99,000 again, so pretty volatile action. You really got to have a strong stomach to or just not pay too much attention, just stay with that trend that continues to look from the lower left to the upper right. In other words, keeps moving up. So that were the indexes on the week. As far as some of my current positions go, I did dump out of some stocks this week. I still have this ARCG, which is the genomic ETF, but we did have a pretty rough day here today, or at least a bit of a pullback day, but trend is still heading higher. Excuse me. And so the small caps, again, kind of rolling over here. So I took the rest off this week. XLV, I think, like I said, I think the small caps have more downside. XLV, again, kind of toppy here. So I did take most of the rest of that position off. Same with the XLU, really dumped there last week. And the Bitcoin, my positions with HUT and IBIT I took off last week when we broke through 100, because I kind of figured we would be pulling back after we breached that number. And TD was one that I broke my rule. I shouldn't have held it through earnings. I knew earnings were coming up this week. Of course, a gap down they had 2 days after, and came back up a bit today. I do have some calls that I sold up here that obviously are going to expire worthless. And if you want to check out how to do covered call strategies, that's in my book. But unfortunately, I had a pretty significant drop here, and sort of stuck in this position right now. And I'll just continue to sell covered calls. I'll move my next series of calls that I sell down to 55 area. So that's my current positions. And for potentials this week, I didn't have a lot of time to do research, obviously, because I was away. But I'm looking at Lunar. Lunar kind of came up on my scanner here, big pullback after, I believe that was an earnings report, but looks like it held this level, and I'm looking for it to come back up and fill this gap here, possibly in a week or so. So I'll be looking at that, maybe getting into that tomorrow. Silver, I was eyeing even last week, didn't really get into anything on it. It did jump up a bit here today, but it did sort of pull back here. Silver, pretty gappy. It's a difficult thing to trade. Another one that I was looking at from last week was BABA. Looking like it did a double bottom here last week, and now we had that big pop up today on the China news. And but though it didn't finish the day very well here, you can see this big wicky candle. So. And BABA is, pretty gappy. All of these ETFs and stocks that are based on different countries, they do tend to be pretty gappy, because you get the trading and action overnight as well with the markets in whatever stock this happens to be located in. In this case, of course, it's China, but possibly a topping pattern here, maybe a good opportunity to sell calls for this week, and maybe buy some ones higher just to protect yourself. Amazon was one I was watching last week. I did not get into it because it just it gapped and went up. Unfortunately, I was watching it for this breakout here, and that's exactly what we got. So I'm going to have to reassess that, but it looks like 230 is kind of where it topped out a bit, and maybe we're going to pull back to this area where we broke out from one of these moving averages, and maybe have an opportunity to get in at that point. So that's it for what I'm watching this week. All right, let's wrap things up here and talk about what we got coming up this week. We've got the levels for the Dow, Q, SPY, and IWM. But of course, these are as of Sunday night, and we did get a bit of a sell-off today in the markets. So I don't think we breached any of these support levels, but maybe some consolidation is overdue for the week here, as mentioned already. As far as stuff we've got coming up, the big news will be on Wednesday and Thursday, where we get the CPI data, and Thursday jobless claims and PPI data. So watch Wednesday and Thursday. And as far as earnings, we already had AI and Oracle. AI went up, I think, after earnings here today, and Oracle took a bit of a tumble there. So sort of mixed results on Oracle and AI after the close today. We've got GME posting after the close Tuesday. GME, obviously, the meme stock, the old meme stock, and we got Adobe, and Broadcom and Costco will be interesting on Thursday after the close. So that's it, everybody. Come and join us 8 o'clock on YouTube Live, and of course with our members in the trading room, we'll be going through all the pre-market action and then trading the market open at 9:30. So hopefully we will see you there. Take care, everybody, and yeah, sorry for not getting stuff out on the weekend, but just big day on travel day on Sunday, just couldn't do it. Bye for now.